welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the page. So this video, again, character developments. So this video is gonna be all about our favorite person to hate, Sakura Haruno. All right guys, so you guys really want this video. So this video is by far gonna be my favorite video to do, just because a lot has to change, but at the same time not much has to change after a certain point. So with that being said, I have to start it off by saying that this is kind of like a what if scenario, but not really. So what I want to do is I want to kind of walk you guys through the beginning parts of why she changed and how she changed, and then we go into like the actual story. So we have to start before the series begins. This is around the time frame when Sakura starts developing a crush on Sasuke. She goes up to Sasuke and she shows him that she likes him and everything, but Sasuke is very dismissive of her. Now, the one thing I want to say is that this happens long before the Uchiha massacre. So Sasuke is still communicative. He's still capable of talking to people. He's still capable of interacting with people, right? So I would say he's about 7 years old, maybe closer to 8, but he's about 7 years old, right? So she does ask Sasuke, like she gives him a flower or whatever, and Sasuke turns her down. But then he turns around, like when he walks away, he says, hey, if I were to like a girl, I would want her to be strong and capable of protecting herself. And Sakura realizes that, acknowledges it, and understands, okay, Sasuke likes strong girls. So she's like, okay. He said, I would if I did like a girl, I would like her to be strong and capable of protecting herself, right? So what does she do? She's like, okay, I gotta be strong. So she starts studying ninjutsu and taijutsu. Now, 6-7-year-old Sakura studying ninjutsu and taijutsu is not gonna go much anywhere, at least not when she's alone. But luckily, she is in an academy for ninjutsu training and stuff like that. She's training to be a shinobi. So her asking to learn various ninjutsus that could equate to her level of skill and her finesse wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that, you know, she may be humored at least one time. And if she's very good at that one jutsu, she may be capable of learning others. Eventually, she talks to her homeroom teacher, Iruka-sensei. Iruka-sensei puts her on to one jutsu. She masters it within a week or two. And then she's capable of moving forward and using other jutsus. We have to flash forward a bit. So, I said 6, 7, maybe 8 years old. So, let's flash forward. Now they're 12 years old. Now, before they graduate, I want to explicitly say this one thing. Sakura is not a master at all the jutsus that she learned. She's just proficient enough to use them consistently in combat if she so chooses to do so. Now, Sakura has not necessarily been showing off her talents or her skills or her finesse, but she has one thing that's really freaking great for herself, her chakra control. So the first thing she decided to do after learning a certain amount of jutsus was master chakra control. So Sakura's chakra control is a perfect score. She is perfect on chakra control. You're thinking, what? How? That makes no sense. She's Sakura. She's useless. Hey, none of that here. None of that here. The goal is to not make her useless. The goal is to make her competent enough to affect the story in a positive light. So yeah, she's perfect at chakra control. Again, 2 specific reasons why she would be perfect at chakra control if she started training it. One, during the original series, she was the only person that could do what Kakashi did. Damn. Oh. She was the only person that could do what Kakashi did with the tree instantaneously after he did it. So, yes, she can be perfect at chakra control if she trains it. The second thing is, she kind of trained for 4 years, at minimum 4 years, at maximum 6 years. So the idea is, yeah, if she's trained for 6 years, yeah, she would actually get really good and proficient at the jutsu. So yeah, we have that. So these are the 2 types of jutsus that she learned, or 3 types of jutsus she learned. She learned water style ninjutsu, earth style ninjutsu, and she learned jutsus with no nature type. So like your basic shadow clone or your basic clone technique, substitutions, stuff like that, right? Now, when Kakashi eventually meets Team 7, yes, Team 7 would still be a part of the same team, because the team choosings has nothing to do with Sakura and everything to do with the Hokage and who he wants to be a unit, right? Who he feels is the most adequate with each other based off of their stats, right? Cool. So when it comes down to the introductions, Naruto still says he wants to be Hokage, to be acknowledged, blah blah blah. Sasuke still says, you know, I want to avenge my clan, restore my clan, destroy a certain someone, blah blah blah, you know, brooding type, I'm Batman kind of guy. Yeah, it's whatever. Sakura, on the other hand, she changes her answer from like Sasuke and Sasuke to she wants to be a strong and capable shinobi. That's it. That's her whole shtick, is she wants to be a strong and capable shinobi. Right there and then, she has a goal. Her goal is very similar to Naruto's goal, because Naruto wants to be acknowledged for his strength and his abilities, but her goal is she wants to be acknowledged for her own ability. She wants to prove herself. So she wants to prove herself in a way where it has no altruistic motive, because the reality of it is the goal is not necessarily outlandish. Now, people would probably be like, wait, but wasn't her original goal to be with Sasuke? And if she's doing this now, isn't it still to be with Sasuke? Yes, but no. Here's the thing. Throughout her training, she eventually does tell Iruka Sensei and her other teachers why she's training so hard. It's for a boy. You know what they tell her? Girl, you can't do jack shit for a boy. You got to do everything for yourself, because at the end of the day, you can't rely on the love of a boy to motivate you to be stronger. You have to want to be stronger for yourself. So there's that. And that's how she learns to develop the goal for herself, and she wants to improve herself for the sake of improving herself. By the way, this Sakura is also going to be more receptive to different types of people, just because of the fact that she's more motivated for herself as an individual. But eventually they do the bell test and everything. This time, Sakura and Naruto would have to do it together. And the reason for this is because Sakura understands that Kakashi's way too strong for them to overcome individually. And Naruto kind of, he doesn't want to admit it, but he says, you know, it's not that we can't beat him by ourselves, but your way does work faster, so we can team up. So right there and then, that's a change in the story. Now, in order to avoid a change in the story, let's just say everything happens as per usual, with the exception of one thing. Sakura does not get caught in a genjutsu. And the reason why is because Sakura notices when the Sasuke comes up to her, like, Sakura, this and this and this, what happens is Sakura easily deduces it as a genjutsu, because she realizes that Sasuke would never ask for help. So she snaps herself out of that genjutsu pretty easily, because she has expert chakra control. Kakashi takes note of that, and he later wants to train her in genjutsu training, because he notices that she has a knack for spotting genjutsu. And if you can tell genjutsus, you can actually probably cast genjutsus very, very well and intricately. So the first arc happens as per usual, with two major changes. One, Sakura contributes in helping Kakashi be freed, and two, Sakura is the person that is protecting the bridge builder at all times. Why and how? Well, Sakura picked up how Naruto does his shadow clone jutsu. Throughout the time frame between the bell test and the bridge, the Land of Waves arc, Sakura asked Naruto to teach her the jutsu, and guess what? Naruto did. So yeah, she knows how to use the shadow clone jutsu. She isn't very proficient at it, and again, she doesn't have not nearly as much chakra as Naruto does, so she can only do 3 shadow clones at a time. That's the maximum amount of shadow clones she can do. Majority of the bridge happens as per usual, with the exception that it's a lot easier for them to protect the bridge builder, because Sakura is more competent as a shinobi, and she's capable of defending herself. So they put her in a protector role just because of the simple fact that we don't really have any use for her in combat right now. It makes perfect sense. But people still respect Sakura because she's not a fangirl of Sasuke's. She likes Sasuke and she's intrigued by Sasuke, but at the same time, she knows Sasuke's personality and she knows who Sasuke is, so she's not going to just chase after him like a lost puppy. Then we have the Chunin exams arc. This is where things have to change. And the reason why things would have to change is because in order to develop Sakura's character, we need to create a different scenario, which is why I said this will eventually become more of a what if. We need Sakura to train with Sasuke. And here's why. Sakura needs to master certain jutsus that she has in her arsenal. Sakura also needs to learn how to get out of genjutsus more proficiently, more quickly. Sasuke needs to improve his Sharingan, and having someone that knows multiple types of jutsus would probably help him copy more ninjutsu and improve his Sharingan. So, Sakura proposes that Sasuke train with her. Sakura proposes that she train with Sasuke. Sasuke says, okay, fine. And he says it in a way where it's like, yeah, just don't get in the way. Again, Sasuke being Sasuke, he's kind of dismissive of people right now. So, they do train together. Now, their training does also develop their bond. And remember the scene that Naruto and Sasuke had in the original series where Sasuke asks Naruto, what did Sakura tell him about the tree thing? Naruto's like, I'm not telling you. Sasuke blushed. I took that as a sign that Sasuke does have some level of interest in Sakura. He's just not interested in her right now. So, their bonds will deepen and get stronger, and they would also get stronger. Now, this version of Sakura, now fully mastering all of the jutsus that she has in her arsenal, being capable of getting out of most genjutsus via Sharingan, and, well, not via her Sharingan, but from the Sharingan, and being capable of actually developing some level of hand-to-hand combat fighting skills from both Kakashi and Sasuke training her in hand-to-hand combat. Oh, and Sasuke probably also trained her in Shuriken Jutsu because he thought, worst case scenario, you need Shurikens to, help you out. She actually becomes a very competent shinobi, which is great. It's awesome. I love that. Here's the thing, though. She also has nothing to she has no one to kind of challenge herself against right now, because at the moment, sorry, I gotta actually charge my phone real quick. At the moment, she's not necessarily fighting with Ino or doing anything very specific, but guess what happens? Chunin exams happen. So Chunin exams happen. Exams 1, everything is as per normal as the original series. Exams 2, things change. Now, Sakura can use the shadow clones, and Sakura came up with an idea because Sakura also knew Sakura's a little bit more smarter than Naruto, so she noticed one specific key thing about the shadow clone technique. The shadow clone technique retains information, so she decides to create 3 shadow clones and send the 3 shadow clones in different directions to find the scrolls. Outside of that, she also does teach Naruto how to do that, and Naruto's capable of doing that too, so that way it's a lot faster. So now we have Sakura and Naruto going out and finding other potential scrolls that they can steal. Orochimaru incident happens as per usual. This time Naruto's with them though, so it's a little bit more harder for them to lose abruptly very quickly, but they still lose. And then we have the Naruto's unconscious, Sasuke's unconscious, Sound Ninja come through. This is where we finally get to see Sakura actually use her talents and her skills. Now, throughout the time frame that she was training with Sasuke and trained with Kakashi, Sakura learned 2 specific things. One, she learned a little bit of genjutsu from Kakashi. Not enough to the point where she can put people in full-blown genjutsus, but she's developed a couple of her own that are very unique. So she has a snapping genjutsu that's an auditory genjutsu, and she has a pointing genjutsu, very similar to Itachi's basic genjutsu that he puts you in, right? So she created a snapping genjutsu based off of sound and a pointing genjutsu based off of visuals. those genjutsus are pretty powerful. And then on top of that, she can also create a genjutsu on top of patterns. So she created a pseudo Izanagi or Izanami type of genjutsu, right? She ends up washing most of the Sound Ninja until they overcome those obstacles, and then Sasuke takes over, and we still get the curse mark Sasuke. We get Sakura hugging Sasuke, seeing Sasuke retaining his power or his consciousness, and then like everything as per normal happens until the preliminaries. Now the preliminaries, nothing changes for Sasuke, nothing changes for Naruto. For Sakura though, Sakura puts Ino in a genjutsu almost instantaneously as the match begins. Ino goes through the whole thing. So we see the whole fight that Ino experiences. And then when Ino finishes that fight, Sakura snaps her back to reality, and Ino was literally projected into a genjutsu the entire time. And Ino lost the match. Sakura walks away. Everybody's just astonished at how impressive Sakura is. And Kurenai takes note because she wants to train her now. She's like, ooh, this girl can use genjutsu? Yes, I have a student. So there's that. Now, the rest of the matches happen as per usual. We get the Gaara thing. We get the Neneji versus Hinata. We get the Naruto versus Kiba. We get everything as per usual. Then we get the time skip, or the month off for training. Sakura trains with Kurenai. Kakashi trains Sasuke. Naruto was gonna train with Ibusei, but Ibusei he ain't really doing that. He ain't gonna train Naruto. So Jiraiya trains Naruto because Naruto's like, yeah, nah, I ain't training with Ibusei. Ibusei's weaker than me, man. I ain't gonna train with a dude that's weaker than me. Come on, man, that's dumb. So there you go. Sakura is tasked to fight Dosu in the Chunin exams. So rather than having a situation where we have Sasuke's fight before Sakura's, we're just going to push Sasuke's fight to the very end, and we're going to have everybody else fight. So Naruto's fight, per usual, Kankuro forfeits, Shino wins. Temari versus Shikamaru. Shikamaru puts Temari in a compromising position, and then he gives up because he doesn't have any more chakra and no more stamina. And then Sakura versus Dosu. Sakura washes Dosu. And then Sasuke shows up, and Sasuke versus Gaara ensues. The Chunin exams gets interrupted by Orochimaru's invasion, and we get everything all the way up until Gaara versus Team 7. Now, Team 7 actually does a lot, and Sakura does last a little bit longer than normal until she ends up getting washed. But at the end of the day, she still gets washed. And the reason for that is just because Gaara's just that much more stronger than her. It's not a testament to how Sakura's weak or anything. Again, it's just these scenarios, she's not ready for these scenarios. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, yeah, she has powerful ninjutsu, she has powerful genjutsu, but at the end of the day, Shukaku's taking over Gaara, so I don't think Shukaku's going to let Gaara get into a genjutsu. And then most of the ninjutsus that she has are either going to take up too much chakra, or they're going to take up too much time for her to actually formulate and use. She's proficient at them, but she needs time to, do water style. She needs time to do earth style. And on top of that, they're fighting on trees, so very hard to do earth style on trees. Just saying. So we have that going on. And then we get the post invasion arc scene where Sakura's thanking Sasuke for saving her. Sasuke's kind of PO'd, and he's like, no, I didn't save you, it was Naruto. And Sakura looks over and Naruto's like, oh, Naruto saved me? That's weird. Okay. And she was like, no, but you're being so modest. And he's like, no, that dude saved you, man. He saved you. I couldn't do nothing. So, yeah. Eventually, for majority of the rest of the part 1, Sakura's not in it, so we can't really determine what she'd be doing outside of just training. So we could say that, yeah, she's training, she's in the background training and doing stuff. Yes, she's gonna be very thankful and very grateful that Sasuke's, okay and everything. She still cares for Sasuke, and it's a lot more believable for her to hug him when Sasuke wakes up because she's developed a bond with him, like a real bond. She knows this dude. She's trained with this dude. She's talked to this dude. In the original series, she had a crush on a dude she barely even talked to. Made absolutely no sense. All right? So in this version of events, Sakura is actually way more relatable to a lot of girls because, like, yeah, I'm still doing my own thing, but I do have a crush on this guy. He barely notices me, but sometimes we have amazing moments and sometimes we don't. It's as simple as that. So yeah, like, obviously Sasuke does try to leave the village, and this is where things change. When Sakura encountered Sasuke leaving the village in the original series, Sakura did nothing but cry, and this time she's actually gonna fight him. And she puts him under a genjutsu, which does not work for shit, because she fails to realize that Sasuke has a Sharingan. And Sasuke's Sharingan is actually a lot more stronger than the original series, because in the original series, Sasuke didn't train his Sharingan to the degree that he did in this version of events. So, yeah. But here's the thing: he does end up saying the whole "Sakura, forgive me" thing, but he puts her under a genjutsu. And then he just leaves her on the thing. Now, this version of Sakura is gonna wake up a lot earlier than events. So basically, she just kind of wakes up like maybe like 5 minutes after Sasuke leaves the village, and then she goes to the Hokage Master. She's like, "Hey, like Sasuke just left the village. We need to go after him. Blah 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 blah. He's going after Orochimaru. Da 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 da." And then like Tsunade's like, "Okay, whoa, we need to formulate a team. Sakura's gonna be on that team." And the reason for this is because Sakura's more of a capable shinobi now, and she stood up to Sasuke. So I feel like Sakura would actually want to go a part of the team. So guess what? She's going to go a part of the team, and is going to actually go a little bit differently now. Because now, rather than Shikamaru fighting Teiuya, Sakura fights Teiuya. Everybody else stays pretty much the same. Shikamaru ends up fighting against Kimimaro, which is it's a very bad enemy for Shikamaru to face, but at the same time, he's in a very perfect position because he's in an open field. As long as there's sunlight, there's shadows, so he can use the shadows. Now, obviously, I would say he should probably come closer to the trees so that way he has longer shadows. But it is what it is, man. And then Naruto v Sasuke. Naruto loses, Sasuke goes to Orochimaru, and Naruto tells Sakura he's sorry that he couldn't bring Sasuke back, blah, blah, blah. Sakura's like, yeah, don't worry about that. Next time, we're going to bring him back together. We just got to get stronger. That's it. And this time, when Sakura goes to Tsunade, she goes to Tsunade asking Tsunade to teach her medical ninjutsu for the reason that she was a part of a team that almost died. There were almost 3 casualties of death. I remember Kiba wasn't that badly injured, but I believe his dog was injured to a very, very detrimenting degree. Like, his dog was probably not going to make it. Neji almost died. Like, he was in critical condition. They had to, like, pump him with a whole bunch of chakra just to keep him alive and stable. And then I believe the same thing happened to Choji, too. So, yeah. She's going to want to learn medical ninjutsu to be a capable shinobi and a capable asset to the village. So there you go. Like, I've just created a completely different Sakura. Like, she's a capable shinobi and she's a very, very good asset to the village. Part 2, the only thing that changes is her fight with Sasori. Because now Sakura would have a lot more chakra. She would have learned how to store up the chakra for the Byakugo seal a lot more sooner because of the fact that she has great chakra control. Like exponentially great chakra control. She's been training it since she was a kid. And then on top of that, she probably would have mastered the Shadow Clone Jutsu to be capable of using it to summon up a small army of 100 clones, which is more than enough. And it's feasible to actually help her. Now, another thing I would say is she would probably develop a deep admiration for Naruto. And so her feelings towards Sasuke may come in question later on in the series because her and Naruto have very similar goals. They want to improve themselves and get better. Self-development, self-growth, and stuff like that. Now, what I said about her relationships and stuff, Sakura would actually like bushy brows. Like, she would actually find him a very interesting individual. She may not like his weird, quirky, goofy side, but she would like him in the sense of like, yo, like, he sounds like a really cool dude, and he has the drive and the passion to achieve his goals. And on top of that, she also wouldn't look down on Lee. like, oh, he doesn't know ninjutsu and genjutsu, she'd be like, okay, cool, who cares? Like, he's a very powerful taijutsu specialist. So I think Sakura would actually come to terms that if like Sasuke doesn't reciprocate her feelings, she can move on. Like, she got options, bro. She's not gonna just stick on Sasuke the whole time, which is very, very good character development. And it also shows that she doesn't have a very, very unhealthy attachment style of love. But I mean, I guess I could end it here. But for the most part, eventually she does learn the Byakugo seal. I do believe that she could activate it by the time she fights Sasori if she really wanted to. I don't think she would need to, though. And then the Sasuke return thing would just not really happen the way that it did, because they'd be a lot stronger than what they were. But yeah. Outside of that, the war arc still happens as per usual. Everything else still happens as per usual. It's just she's a more capable shinobi. And I think people might question if she should be Hokage after Kakashi. Because she would be a very capable shinobi, and she would have also still done all her... She still would have created all her achievements for herself. She would have been the most important shinobi in the world after the Fourth Great Ninja War, just because of the fact that she created the hospitals across the lands, which is very impressive. But yeah, so yeah, this is the Sakura thing. So like, yeah, we kind of changed Sakura's whole trajectory on being useless, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Are there moments where she's not needed? Absolutely. But when she's not needed, she's not seen. She's like busy doing training and like going on missions and doing a whole bunch of other stuff. So a lot of us fail to realize that Sakura's shortcomings come from the fact that her goal was just to get Sasuke. Her goal had nothing to do with herself. And that's what we needed to fix. And that's what we did fix with the teachers before she actually vocalized her goal. Yeah. So if you guys like the video, like, comment, subscribe. If you guys want any more videos like this, yeah. And I will definitely make a what if for this eventually, like a more standardized what if, and I'll break it down into parts. But for now, I think this works. So yeah, like I said, like, comment, and subscribe.